Hi guys, my name is Mark, and I'm going to be playing today a American Force out of the Stripes book. I'm going to be playing an American Airborne formation with a American Armored Cavalry. So what I have here for the Airborne formation is 2 of the small Airborne platoons and 1 of the 5 Sheridan platoons. This is mostly here just to either, depending on the mission, be a quick force to reach out, land on an objective, and try and take an objective, or to be dug in and defensive on the objectives that I'm defending if I'm playing on the defense. For the cavalry, I have 4 scout sections in the back, and then I have 2 3-tank platoons of IPM-1s. The IPM-1s are there just to obviously absorb the shots of most other tanks for a Soviet list. And then the spearhead and tows out there are there to help destroy tanks. This is primarily going to be the attacking portion of my formations, as it's the better portion to maneuver on and destroy enemy forces. Then in support of this list, I have 4 VADs for air defense, just to try and deal with anybody that's going to try and bring a bunch of aircraft in on top of the tanks or the infantry for the attacking.
Hey guys, it's John Meyer here with List Testers. We got a list submission to us. He wanted us to test it for V2 for Team Yankee. So we're going to do the best we can with the rules that may come with it. So it's mostly going to be like a Flames War kind of rule set for Team Yankee. So I don't have the correct models, but I have what I can to simulate his Iraqi list. So he has a T-62 company. So he has his formation commander, 3 platoons of 7 T-62s, 1 platoon of infantry, and he upgraded them to get the French vehicles, so they have a little bit better AT. He does have a Milan added onto it. The rest part of his forces, he has 4 Hots, 4 Hinds, 4 Gazettes, 3 Carnations. Can't remember the name of these guys, but he has 3 more of those. An Observer. These guys are his scouts. I got 4 Rolands and also 4 Harriers as American support. Alright, so we both picked attack, and we ended up with encounter, which is not a good list to have encounter with. And we rolled dusk so I got 3 turns before my advantage is gone, and then it's pretty much game over at that point. Plus, then I rolled to be the attacker, so I can't use any of my aircraft or artillery in the first turn. So this is going to be a great match. We'll come back to you after movement. So my first move is I moved my first platoon of T-62s and the formation commander up 10 inches. We're going to try to take out that hot platoon. Over here, moved up my second platoon of T-60s. And we're going to try to take some more shots at either the infantry or his other AT assets. Moved my infantry fighting vehicles. We're going to take shots at infantry. These guys are out of range of his other vehicles over there, but we still have some Milan shots we'll take. So we'll come back to you after the results. So with the rules of the median engagement, not being able to fire pretty much all that I have, fired into his ITVs, had 2 possibles with 7s for slow firing, and I missed both of those. Over here, we did get 1 lucky shot into his ITV over there with a 7. Fired machine guns into his infantry, 2 hits, but didn't get a kill. And then our auto cannons from the infantry vehicles fired into the infantry, killing 2. And that's it for Iraqi turn 1.
Alright guys, so this is American turn 1 here. We moved the Abrams out from behind the tree line up into there, and they fired across into the T-62s, and actually did pretty bad. I was hoping for at least 1 or 2 more hits on that platoon. The ITV section that was there fired over and managed to bail the formation commander. Once again, was kind of hoping for a kill, but failed the firepower. In the middle, the infantry platoon that was in this building here has moved forward into that one, and a bunch of shots went out. You can kind of see the results there. We managed to bail a couple of vehicles and kill a couple more over there. ITV that was here fired across and managed to kill his observer. Because of how points work in the current rule of Team Yankee, and we don't have an idea yet, I'm just simply, since we're testing for a competitive list, going for some of the point kills. Over here, the VADs have repositioned to get ready to dash across the board if they need to. At this point, I'm just setting them up to relocate to better support the assets I have coming on the board. And then the ITV section, the scout section here on the hill, fired down at the HOTS and managed to kill one of them. So in all, it's been a pretty successful turn 1 for Daylight. It does actually hurt quite a bit losing one of those ITV sections, because that was one of my stronger AT shots that's gone off the board, but at the very least the Hammerhead will protect them as best they can while he closes his forces. So we'll be going back over onto Iraqi turn 2.
Alright, we're back with Iraqi turn 2. So my formation commander, he got back in. I failed to remount my scout, and I got a remount on my other T-62. So I moved one T-62 and the formation commander up so they can take shots, and 3 of them will have normal shots without the slow fire. These guys, I dashed up to try to get shots on the Abrams before night falls for side armor. Moved up my vehicles a little bit. We're going to take some shots at his other ITV. And these guys moved up, and we're going to take more shots at those ITVs. Also moved my infantry. We're going to try to maybe assault those infantry off and after nightfall. We'll find out what's going to happen. I'll come back to you with shooting. So a couple good rounds of firing. So they fired, got my kills I needed. Luckily, don't know how, I managed to roll 7s. Let's see, ranged in and killed 1 dragon team with my French vehicles. The Carnations failed the range in. These guys moved up, and we took out his 1 ITV over here. Over here, we fired with our HOTS and managed to bail out his machine gun. Then we fired with our other infantry vehicles, and managed to kill the 50 cal, but only bailed out his ITV. We'll come back to you with American turn 2.
So this is American movement on turn 2. The Abrams tanks just relocated over there just a bit. That's just there to basically stop him from being able to move down into the side and then tank flank shots, even with slow firing. That's a pretty big risk. The infantry platoon that was in the 2 buildings on this side of the road right here have moved into the 1 building, and the other platoon just hasn't moved at all. The surviving 113 from the scout section has moved up, and then the VADs have come up and around the hill, and we're about to get into a vicious gun battle over here with the French vehicles here, and we'll see how this goes. Come back at the end of shooting on turn 2. Alright guys, so the American M1s, in the spirit of really good gunnery, managed to hit 3 of the 4 T-62s over here, and then in the, well, we'll call them ammunition malfunctions, only managed to kill 1 and bailed 2 of the others, so we'll see if those manage to remount and if that unit manages to stick around. The infantry platoon on the left side of the road there fired into the T-62s in an attempt to kill some of them, and no success. Over here, they fired over into the APCs, and they managed to use 1 law shot to kill 1 of the APCs. The 113 there fired and missed everything, and then the VADs opened up with their cannons and scored 2 hits on every APC except the one behind the building, managing to kill 2 of them, bail 2 of them, and not affect the other 3. So we'll be going to the top of turn 3 now. Reserves will start arriving, and we'll start rolling for night shortly.
All right, top of turn 3, right before nightfall. Maybe, we don't know. So I kept that platoon still. We remounted one T-62 so we don't have to take a check for V2 rules that we think we know. I dashed up my T-62s to get within range of the objective. I moved up my infantry. Maybe we'll assault, maybe we won't. We got to see how the fire goes first. Then I got my reinforcements, so I brought in my Heinz, and we got my aircraft. So if any of his vehicles survive over there, we'll try to take out what's left to wipe that side of the board out and prevent any more anti-aircraft shots. So turn 3, missed the Milan, or we killed one with the Milans. We came in and fired with our aircraft. They got a lot of hits but failed their firepowers. We killed 2, bailed 2, and the double bailed one failed his remount, or to remount. Yep. So he has 1 left over there, and came over here with our infantry, fired into his, killed almost everybody that was left, especially with our artillery, and we're about to do an assault. So we'll come back to you after that results.
Alright guys, so bottom of turn 3, night did not fall thankfully, but I managed to bring on the other platoon of Abrams tanks who came in right along this road here, pushed up, fired into the T-62s. The other 2 platoon fired up blast into the T-62s, and then the infantry in the building assaulted into them, came back out, and then all the infantry platoons that are up here, the formation commander is the one who actually did the assault, but the rest of the infantry here then fired into his infantry, and the 2 113s over here fired into his infantry and managed to pin the platoon and took off a couple of stands. It's not a big stop, but it's what we had there. And then our VADs somehow failed to remount, but then decided, you know what, I'm going to stick around on the battlefield anyways. So we're going to be going into the top of Iraqi, turn 4.
So, failed to remount yet again. Infantry are staying where they're at. Failed to remount over here. We moved those guys up. We're going to take some last shots to take out that last VAD. We're going to use those guys to take out his formation commander and his last M113 he has up there. Failed to get reserves on, and we're in night now. So we'll see how this goes. Oh, and I also got my planes. We're going to try to take out those Abrams. So they stayed on the ground. We repeat bombardment. We killed that last platoon over there. Assaulted over here, killing that entire platoon, which broke that formation. Luckily, over here we got some night shots and was able to kill off that VAD, and we were able to bail out his formation commander. Correct?
This was the formation commander's dead.
Yeah.
You bailed the formation commander and then was killed.
Yeah, bailed him out, and then he was too close in the assault, so he was taken out. And then he still has that one guy over there, which I wasn't able to hit. Tornadoes came in, survived the anti-aircraft fire, bailed out 1 Abrams, and then the Heinz killed 1, bailed 1. So hopefully I can get my infantry unit that I moved up over here onto an objective before he can move anybody else over there to take him out.
Right, so we're in the American turn. So with the infantry formation broken, I can't get my Sheridans in, which means we're going for the Hail Mary. So the Abrams tanks have up and sprinted down the road as fast as humanly possible to start and end a turn, hopefully alive on the objective. We're basically counting on they're not shooting, so they're going to be harder to see, which means they're going to be harder to shoot at. Over here, the 113 is just positioning himself to take shots and basically try and screen the infantry teams from advancing on either of the 2 objectives. and the other Abrams platoon is kind of following their first one in, just to see if we can reinforce or help at all. So it's basically coming down to, can that last platoon down there survive all the shooting that's about to happen. All right, so stuff shot, nothing happened. The 113 over here fired at the infantry stand, managed to get a hit, but they saved it. And then on a desperate bid to try and chip off at least one of the Hinds, the Abrams tanks fired their AMGs at them, scored 2 hits with the 7.62, which were saved, and then rolled snake eyes for the 50 cals. So nothing's happened, and then the unit back there is just hiding in the darkness.
All right, I think this is going to be the last turn. I got 2 reinforcements, so I brought in my Gazettes, even though I can't shoot with them because they have to move on and then wait and then shoot. So they're pretty much useless. I got my last platoon of T-62s, and they arrived in on the center, so we're putting them right behind the Abrams. Canadians moved out of the woods. We're going to try to direct fire in there. Moved my Hinds on, failed to bring on my Harriers. That platoon moved up. We're going to try to get some back shots since those guys fired and they're visible. We're also going to try to get some Milan shots into the sides of the Abrams. And if we can kill at least one platoon, we'll break his formation. So after firing, I missed with my Carnations. I missed with my Hinds. I missed with my Milans. And I magically got 3 hits with the T-62s, which was enough on the side armors to kill them both, which breaks his formation, which will give me a 5-2 victory. Somehow. I don't know how, but we managed to do a 5-2. And we'll come back to you with closing thoughts.
All right, so this kind of performed how I wanted it to perform. I'm definitely going to have to change up how the list works a bit. The ITBs got killed off pretty quickly, which took out a good chunk of my anti-tank shots. The Abrams did what they were supposed to do, but weren't screened well enough by the anti-air to keep them in good enough spirits to keep fighting. On the other side of things with the infantry platoon, I'm probably going to need those to tweak some points around a bit to get the large airborne platoons, because the small one just got chewed up a little too fast, and that stopped the Sheridans from showing up to provide some additional anti-tank support. That would have probably made it a little easier to dig his infantry out since they have brutal on the guns. They would have been able to close with and neutralize a good chunk of his infantry before getting killed. Outside of that, I think the play went well. It worked the way I wanted to work. The Abrams did a good chunk of the heavy hitting, and the infantry did okay. But in all, I feel like it was a good mission deployment. Night fell right when I needed to, and it was a pretty solid list. Just needs a little bit of tweaking to get a little bit better.
So after playing this Iraqi list for a couple times, I think I like it. The infantry vehicles do a lot more damage than I thought they originally would, so I think they're definitely worth 3 points, especially the 2 points spent on the Milan. That will really keep somebody in check with a fire rate of 3. Aircraft do pretty well. Your biggest obstacles are going to be a Soviet list with BMPs, because they'll destroy your infantry fighting vehicles. Plus, they have anti-helicopter cannons. Plus, tank hordes are going to be hard to go against. So your biggest opponents are going to be Soviets. They'll also have most Soviet tournament players will have a lot of AA. So it's going to be hard to go against the Soviet, especially since you're technically NATO. So your first game is going to be your hardest, and any night games you have are going to hurt your list too, but it's a pretty solid list and should still at least get you a victory at a 4-3. But against a NATO player, you're going to be looking at 5-2, 6 points.